because they're not bringing their stuff until Barcelona, apparently. Let's do the podcast. Let's just jump right the hell into it.
Let's pod.
Yeah, no frivolity. Yeah, maybe some frivolity. Maybe just like
no cold open.
We're coming in hot, just like
just straight into what is it? 3 year? Just go dive directly into what is it? 3 years before the Battle of Yavin.
Oh yeah. It's just the what is that? That's BBY.
BBY, I think.
Before the Battle of Yavin. Yeah. There's ABY and BBY. All right. Well, now we've got a tiny little bit of a cold open. Welcome to the F1 Files, folks. This is our Formula One podcast. Just a couple of best friends who love goofing off with silly electronic equipment, making fun of Lance Stroll, and also paying very, very close attention to the sport of Formula One as a whole. I'm one of the hosts. My name is Cory Willis. I'm a writer, actor, and audio engineer out here in Los Angeles, California.
And this is John Lepore, creative consultant and founder of Black Box Infinite, designing the future for film, technology, and automotive. All right, so it's technically race week. We've just survived a raceless weekend, a rare weekend without any Formula One racing in the year of our Lord 2025.
We need to treasure this. I feel like it came and went just like summer vacation did when you were a kid, where you're like, oh, wait, we did have a little bit of a break, didn't we?
Yep. And then bam, it's the end of August, and you're breathing down the neck of the Miami Grand Prix.
Oh baby, sprint weekend and all. We got potential new liveries on their way. We've got potential guest appearances and announcements that may be happening this weekend.
I don't know about any of this.
Yeah, this is the flight trackers have tracked Sergio Perez's plane flying from was it Tulum, or maybe it's a different part of Mexico, but his plane flew into Miami this week.
So
and Cadillac has like an announcement that they're doing supposedly this weekend.
Yeah, so I mean, like that obviously means. And we're just rolling right into it, but that has to mean that there's going to be like the most golden brown Mario Andretti fresh off of the beach in Miami coming to introduce Checo as a Cadillac General Motors Formula One driver / Andretti Motorsports.
Yeah, or it'll be someone who it'll be Andretti, but it'll be wearing the like the Groucho Marx like glasses, nose, and mustache, and it'll just be like, dude, we all know who you are. But yeah, that's probably going to happen this weekend. We'll see. But there's going to be so much pomp and circumstance around this weekend anyways. Since we've last spoken to the folks out there in the world, we've had Yuki Tsunoda back at Silverstone testing last year's car. So that was he now has some testing under his belt. We have the Christian Horner confirmed, like, oh yeah, I've been talking to George. Just, because he's out of contract next year. No, I wouldn't be a good team principal if I wasn't, keeping all my options open. So that just has fueled the fire of Max Verstappen potentially leaving Red Bull. It was also revealed, Johnny, that his exit clause isn't what we thought it was. It's even more ridiculous. Apparently, if he is out of the top two, so not if he finishes third, like below third, like if he is not competing for a world championship, he gets to walk away from his Red Bull contract the following year. Like straight up, that's his exit clause. So yeah, there's that's like really wild to hear that, and like no one's really pushing back on it or addressing it, which kind of makes me think that it's like probably how it is. And that's also why Christian Horner's just like, yeah, no, I'm talking. I guess Max apparently also like had conversations with our favorite our favorite villain of F1, Briatore. Apparently they had some conversations as well. So
that seems weird. That seems like he's just trying to like flash his shit all over town.
It does. It really does. Just like, ooh, don't you want it, boys? Like, it's like a weird, like, what is happening? But Toto has actually come out and said, he's like, hey, we're trying to lock George into like the last little bit of his contract stuff. We're trying to figure that out before the summer break. Like it's like, oh yeah, the terms basically just need to be like finalized is what Toto said about that. So we'll see. What have you caught anything? There's been like a couple other things in the news that I would love to chat about here too.
I haven't. I've basically been on full media blackout over here in my bubble.
Yeah. Which is fine, John. As you should be, as a normal human being with
pretending to be normal. For
the
last week or so.
So there has been, I think it was today or yesterday, Mohammed bin Salman ended up releasing a little thing on social media where he basically walked back some of those like no more swearing. It felt like it was appropriate.
I did see this. He is, like we've never seen a person in power do before, making giant, sweeping, aggressive judgments and policies, and then almost immediately walking them back when they realize that, like, oh, all the people around me that were telling me not to do this were correct.
Were actually correct. And now I have to eat crow in a public way instead of being like, we couldn't come to a consensus as the executives of the FIA to do these things. It was like, no, I'm ruling by fiat. And then his second in command was like, hey, I'm out. I can't work with this guy. Also, keep in mind, I did run against him last time. So he's feeling that pressure. He's feeling the pressure of like a potential Susie Wolf confrontation here, which she would basically have to give up her position with like the F1 Academy at that point, right? Because she's like kind of the president. She's like one of the governing body within F1 Academy.
I'm not sure how that works at that point. I mean, in theory, if she's not, I guess there's got to be some layer of conflict there, but at least she's not like steering an individual team or something like that. Like she's not.
Yeah, that's true.
Biased in a competitive sense, but I guess there's still probably lots of battling that typically goes on between the FIA and Formula One proper, and the same thing could apply to F1 Academy.
Yeah. And I'm ashamed to say I don't know nearly as much about the structure of the F1 Academy, other than like it is very similarly set up like the other feeder series, like the other junior categories, where a team will sponsor a driver and then that driver drives one of like the spec vehicles, and then they get sponsors, and that kind of forms their identity along the way. So I know that in some of the junior categories, like even teammates don't have the same liveries. Like it's like a weird scenario. So you're right. There's probably something in the way that she administers F1 Academy that like makes her more focused on like the sport as a whole, versus like I'm pulling for Abby Pulling or, you know, or someone like that. So yeah, I also just don't want to see her in charge because her husband owns so much in F1. It just feels, that starts to feel wrong. Like
it does start to feel like a weird dynasty of sorts.
Yeah. And I know that we're being like absolutely hypocritical because we basically were like, Toto and Susie weren't whispering sweet nothings into each other's ears last year, and that,
right.
It's like,
I mean,
this is different.
I would still welcome their influence at a, this is still like, this gets into like the which billionaire is better than the other billionaire sort of space. Remember, all
absolutely,
bad. But like, yeah, I mean, it is easy to be like, well, at least they aren't, Ecclestone or MBS or that's
we are on that.
Our expectations are very low in that space.
Yeah, it's like we just don't want someone who will be an absolute dictator running our sport. That would be really, really nice to not have that. So the thing though is, there's something else came up. Basically the decision was made that we are not bringing back V10s. That was like a statement that was like openly made by F1 to be like, hey, just so you know, we're not bringing back V10s. We have too much invested with Honda and with Audi. I mean, my God, I just want to bring back those screamers, or even the V8. I'll take a V8 turbo with like a little bit of a hybrid, or KERS even. You know what I mean? Like I'll take any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Versus this, what we're looking at next year. This year, I'm okay. Like, I'm really okay with it. And it sounds like most other people have kind of gotten used to it. But next year, it's looking dicey. Like, they are going to keep the electric component of it. And they're basically... Did you see any of, like, the language around this?
No. What are they saying?
So, basically, if you were to deploy your battery on the Imola Straight, you would only be able, if you were like fully deploying the battery, you would have 7 seconds total of like full battery deployment before your engine started clipping. So they were like, oh, well, we can't have that. We don't want that. So what they're doing is basically shifting the balance of how much the battery will deploy under different circumstances. So there will be like more of a 50-50 battery split when people are in the corners. But then when you're on the straightaway, it'll be more like a 60-40 split, or like basically they're not allowing you to deploy your battery at full deployment on the straights because it was causing the clipping. So again, this is like, why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about this like less than a year away from a complete and total regulation change? Like, these new cars will be on the track this time next year, and we're still going like, well, what do we do about the engine deployment? Like, what are we doing? It's frustrating, but
it's bizarre. I mean, it does just make it feel a whole lot like, we're just making the formula worse, making it more awkward, making it more challenging. Like it feels like when you're describing it to me, it just feels like every version of like, there was a really cool vision, and then there were a bunch of compromises that had to be made that the vision could not survive or adapt to, and everybody just was stuck being like, okay, here's a bunch of weird compromises, and this is where we're at because it'd be too costly to throw it all away and just switch to V10, which I still think was the most chaotic concept ever. I mean, I love it. I love it, but it also, like, it's the same exact thing as, like, guess what, kids? The elementary school is going to serve ice cream for breakfast.
John, I was going to say the same thing. I was literally going to be like, it's like going to school and you get, like, just free ice cream at school. Like, it's like, there's no way no way that comes with no strings attached. Like, there's no way. Like, you only get one kind of ice cream. Like, you find out, like, oh, there's only one kind of, and it's soft serve. It's not even like,
I think, again, this is making all of this clear to me. We've entered in every facet of society. Every facet of society is being run like student government.
Yes. Yeah.
Where somebody stands on stage and is just like, well, if you elect me, ice cream for breakfast. Ice cream for breakfast
and soda in the water fountains.
Yeah, so soda in the water fountains. And, and then, 2 months into, diabetes outbreak and, a dental crisis. Yeah. Everything has to be walked back.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is. It is wild to see the swings that we're seeing across the entire spectrum of society, but, like, very much so, like, in this sport within the past, like, 2 years, all of a sudden it went from, like, oh yeah, it's kind of gross, billionaires kind of, flaunting how much money they have. And it's kind of like this, like, this weird, like, financial orgy that happens in Monaco that's more important than the race. And then it just became like, oh yeah, no, that stuff is more important. Like, the artifice is gone. Like, no, the sport doesn't really matter. All it is money changing hands. And, like, if the sport was doing something for the fans, I think they would have stopped at the V8 turbos. I don't think that we would have gotten to the V6 turbo hybrid era. I just don't think we would have. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where it ends up, where this conversation ends up. It should wrap up pretty soon, though. Like I said, like, we're like 8-9 weeks away from the summer break, which means the season's halfway over, and they still haven't decided, like, what they're going to do with the engine regulations.
Yep.
It's also a weird thing where it was like, hey, we're getting rid of DRS, and everyone was like, okay, let's what else you got? And they're like, but we're replacing it with active aero. And it was like, okay, but this is okay, maybe we're going to make the car smaller. Okay, I like this. We're heading in the right direction. But we're going to go to a 50-50 split between the electric motor and the combustion engine. I was like, I don't like that at all. Mm-hmm. I don't like that at all. And then on the other side of it, we got, like, oh yeah, let's get an 11th team on the grid. Let's do it. Let's absolutely do it. Oh, we got Andretti, a legacy name within the sport. Yeah? Not quite. We're going to strip the identity of that and then make it a GM brand. And then that's going to be, the Andretti will have some sort of
bleach the Andretti out of it.
Yeah. Like, it's this weird, it's like a bait and switch that we're getting, like, across the spectrum of the sport. And then out in the rest of society, there's so much like, oh, this is just you're lying.
This is our new stability.
God. That said, I did take the time to just watch the core the other night.
The movie about the core of the Earth exploding.
Yes, exactly.
I've never seen this movie, but I can crystal clear imagine in my mind even just like the orangey glow on the lettering on the poster.
Oh, you better believe that that's exactly, it's the lettery glow, like the glow, which then is exactly what happens when the Paramount logo disappears. It goes right to like,
oh yeah. The Paramount logo probably turns orange like right at the end.
And then like core comes up. But there was something in that like made me think of like how like F1 had this like promise that was never really delivered.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, because they thought the core was going to be like a big deal. They thought it was going to be a cool movie.
Yeah.
They were like, wait until everybody's going to be talking about the core in the same way they were talking about the movie Speed.
Yeah.
It's going to really take off.
It's going to just take, and now everyone's like, I mean, Delroy Lindo was pretty good in it. It was cool.
Oh, Delroy Lindo.
Yeah. He's Delroy Lindo. Come on. He's good in everything. So anyways, that's that kind of like reminded me of like, I remember the hype around that movie and then watching it back when we were young, watching it and being like, I think this is bad. Yeah, I think this is bad. And now, like 20 years later.
Until now, I thought all movies were good.
Yeah, but they're lying to us. Someone lied to me. Yeah, and now, like 20 years later, I'm like, oh yeah, no, this was bad. This was bad, and it was all a fraud. Which is like kind of what I'm looking at with like the promise of new regulations, and now it's just like, oh, this is fraudulent. That said, I'm excited for next year. This year has been a little bit underwhelming. With the races and just the action, based on what we saw last year, John. Right, like our speculation was the racing is going to be insane.
Yeah,
and it's not.
I think we'll see. I think there's still some opportunities for I think at least. Listen, the pecking order has been disrupted.
Yeah.
There's no clear sense of exactly where it's going to go. I mean, we have our theories.
Yeah.
But we're at least, a chapter into the season, and it doesn't feel like there's a foregone conclusion. So
yeah,
happy with that.
I am
very happy with that.
And the only foregone conclusion is the one that we've like wanted, which is Piastri to win the championship. Like, do we want Hamilton to win this year? Of course. But if Lewis Hamilton's not going to win the championship and Charles Leclerc is not going to win the championship, then let's get Oscar Piastri in there for sure. And that is what we're getting right now. That's been a weird thing too, where the past week, seems like everyone's like now going like, I don't know, is Lando going to bounce back? Is he going to bounce back? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what? Oh, sure. There was like a quote. I was listening to F1 Nation and Tom Clarkson and Natalie Pinkman was like Tom Clarkson was like, oh yeah, Lando said in an interview that he's like striving. He just wants to be perfect. He knows he needs to be perfect. And then Natalie like comes on and she's like, so I was watching an interview with Oscar Piastri and he basically said the exact opposite, where he was like, there's no such thing as perfection. There's just setting a goal and meeting it and setting a new goal for yourself. And it was like, that right there is someone who is going to be a world champion. Someone who goes like, I need to be perfect in order for this to work. Is like that dude, not just racing, in any circumstance throughout life. You cannot ever have a perfect thing happen. Everything doesn't just perfectly line up. Even if like, oh my God, everything worked out for me. Something along the way didn't line up and it failed to meet your expectation. And Lando is just setting himself up for that disappointment. Repeated disappointment. Because if that's your mindset, I don't know how you change that mindset, Johnny. I mean,
listen, the sort of bouncing back, like, even like a bag of garbage thrown out a 10-story window still has a little bit of bounce when it hits the pavement, there's going to be a little we'll see. The Lando Norris story is going to, it's going to have some bounciness to the curve, but
for sure. There'll be some
it's
moments.
Only just going to be setting himself up for the next personal extreme disappointment.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel bad ripping on him this much, but if we think back, the first victory that he had, the moment he went from Lando no wins to just cheeky Lando, the only reason he won the Miami Grand Prix last year was because Max Verstappen had a mechanical issue that was causing his brakes to overheat, which is why he ran over that bollard. That's literally the only reason Lando Norris got his win, because he wasn't going to get that win otherwise. Max was going to just make it impossible he was catching Max in that race. He was definitely closing a gap. But as we all know, and as we witnessed with Lando Norris trying to pass Max Verstappen, that is not an easy task. And Max knows that he can play on Lando's insecurities and his timid nature around high stress situations. So yes, Lando has proven himself to be a multiple Grand Prix winner at this point. But can we please not ever forget that his first win, the moment he went from kind of the laughing stock of of the paddock to maybe he's the new future of British motorsport, was that's only because Max made a mistake because his equipment failed. So I don't know if I feel like Lando has always kind of been destined for people get lucky. I mean, Esteban Ocon won a Grand Prix. You know what I mean? Pierre Gasly won a Grand Prix. That doesn't mean that they're the future of French motorsport. And clearly they aren't. They weren't and aren't. So
yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of ridiculous.
So all right, so we're heading into Miami.
Yeah.
You said there's possibly some new liveries. There's got to be all sorts of other general Americanized chaos. That's set up. What do we know is coming at Miami? What do we think is coming?
So I think it's just the race at Coda. I think we're going to see Haas rocking some sort of American flag on their car, profiling it in a much higher visible space, or with a design that kind of emulates some sort of American flag or something like that. That's kind of a given, though. It looks like Mercedes is going to do something different with their car. They dropped a whole bunch of merch that has kind of that coral color, the Miami kind of mauve, pinkish, that soft pastel, whatever that specific coral color is that you see down there. Looks like Ferrari dropped some new merch, and Ferrari has been known to do one-off liveries at these races, especially at Miami. That was I think that was when they debuted the that baby blue, some of those baby blue highlights, not the HP blue, for God's sake, but the nice little soft
classic Ferrari powder blue sort of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we'll see Alpine do something just because they have so much U.S. investment. That investment group that basically owns a fifth of that team. They're all U.S. citizens, except for I think one person who's a boxer from the UK. But otherwise, it's all U.S. money.
Interesting.
So maybe we'll see that.
I mean, I'm pleased to see just some of the general Miami wackiness getting toned down. I think we're finally settling into this just being a regular event on the calendar and not
Wouldn't it be nice?
This thing of like, we got to do, Grand Theft Auto photo shoots with all the teams and,
Yep.
all of this, everything Miami Vice themed and whatever. Like we're getting past that. So to me, that's kind of nice.
That's progress, folks. It's crazy what we're calling progress right now.
Yes. There's still going to be like, I still guarantee somehow like the national anthem will be performed by Will.i.am inside a, chrome hamster ball that has like flames shooting out of it or something.
I would take that over a potential Kid Rock singing of the national anthem, because I feel like we are a few races away from some.
No, please. No.
I know, John. I don't like it.
I don't even like you just saying that out loud. Like, you made me scared for a second that like there was rumors about that or something like that.
No, it just feels.
Like, don't even let that into the universe. Like, don't like.
So let's. How about this? We'll kind of wrap this up on a high note question mark. This high note is Williams has apparently stopped development on the car. Like, they have completely shut down development on this year's car and are now focusing entirely on 2026. I think, Johnny, what we've been kind of like feeling and hearing, I think that Williams next year is going to be probably competitive with Mercedes. I mean, they're going to have the same power unit, and they got James Vowles, and they got Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz driving for them.
It's a bold move, but it's, we've known that Vowles has been pretty clear for the last 18 months at least that Williams are playing the long game. Yeah, that they're here to like, hey, we think we can do a lot. FYI, that doesn't mean like this season. Probably doesn't mean next season. It means, at some point in the next decade, you'll see us move upwards through the field.
Yeah. And that was, they made that very clear with Carlos Sainz when they brought him on board. And that was what Carlito was saying when he signed with them. He's like, they have, I spoke with James, and he has assured me that this is a long-term project, and I have the chance to like build something really special with them. Not unlike you saw Lewis go to Mercedes, right? Like, and I know that wasn't a forced move like Carlos's move was, but when Lewis went to Mercedes, there was very like, at the time, everyone was like, "You're leaving McLaren to go to Mercedes? Like, you're really going to that team? They suck right now. They like objectively suck. And they have Michael Schumacher driving for them, and they're still not podium." Like, so I think that maybe there is something to Carlos's vision, and his like intent. Not that I'm going to this is like kind of the first time I'm going to be comparing him to Schumacher, but like, he does kind of have that same mentality where like Schumacher knew more about the car than he should have. Like, that's what every single person who worked with him, they were like, he basically made us stay late. Like, he shouldn't have been in that garage turning wrenches with us, but he was. And that's just, no drivers do that. And he did it, and it made us a better team. And I think that like Carlos going out early in that Grand Prix in Australia and being like, I'm going to go and basically be a floater strategist and like driver coach for my teammate, because like I want the team to do better. Like, I can shake off like my disappointment right now and immediately jump into a situation that can benefit my team as a whole. And I think, again, that's like very similar to that Schumacher mentality. It's one of the reasons he went to Mercedes. Like, he was like, I want to drive for Mercedes. I want to try and bring Mercedes back to glory the same way that I brought Ferrari back to glory. Did he do it with Mercedes? Not so much. But it's not that he still had an impact. He still had a huge impact on them. And many of the mechanics who went to work for Mercedes were people who Schumacher brought from Ferrari, the way that he brought them to Ferrari when he left. When he left Benetton, was who he was? Yeah. He brought his engineers and brought mechanics, and that's not really possible in the modern era. It doesn't work the same way. But I think Carlos is really putting in a solid effort, and he's got Alex Albon, who is also an amazing driver. And I think if they get equipment that serves them well, Williams will be challenging at least Red Bull at that point, because Red Bull supposedly is looking pretty bad with their engines next year. It's looking not looking great. You've got Petronas and Mercedes, you've got Shell and Ferrari, you've got Gulf and Williams, and Red Bull has Ford helping them with their electronics, not even helping them with their fuel systems or the treatment of the fuel, which is low key, the most important thing, especially if they're going to sustainable fuels. You need an Aston Martin with Aramco. My God, you've got people who control the oil production in the richest part of the world. You've got, again, these other major petrochemical companies signed up with these other teams. And who does Red Bull have? I don't know. I mean, Mobil, yeah. But they're losing Honda. So, all right. Johnny, where is your ragu at? Where are we at right now, buddy? How are we feeling?
Oh man, my blood pressure's all over the place, but it's mostly got nothing to do with Formula One. I'm looking forward to a nice kind of, chill out, mellow Miami spritzer sort of vibe. Mm-hmm. Little rosé prosecco and some Sunday afternoon Formula One.
Nice.
That might just be what my ragu needs to kind of get its consistency back to where it needs to be. How's your ragu doing?
It's pretty good right now. It's definitely it's simmering right now. There's some bubbles starting to form. They're not quite popping yet, but I'm starting to see some movement. Some chunky tomato bits rising to the surface and then ducking back under, much like the molten core of this planet.
Nice. That's it.
Yeah,
we're all just walking around on trillions of pounds of mass with a nice creamy ragu center.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I know that we're not expecting much out of Ferrari for the next couple of races here. And we'll see. We know that Max does really well around Miami. So I'm just kind of expecting him and Oscar to go at it again. I don't think Lando's going to bounce back. If he does, he'll bounce right back to where he is right now, within a Grand Prix or two anyways. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty confident. As far as Ferrari just being okay for now, they're okay. I'm not panicking. I'm not freaking out. I'm done doing that whole thing. I say this now and then watch Lewis podium this weekend, and now I'm gonna be oh yeah, I'm interested to see what Ferrari can do in a sprint race. If that was lightning in a bottle, or if that's oh no, if they just don't have as much time to set up the cars, Ferrari comes out on top. Maybe that we'll see that. Yeah. How about where can we find you online or out there in the world, Johnny?
You can always track me down via my home base, blackboxinfinite.com. Cory, where can the folks find you?
You can track me down. I am Cory P. Willis, and also Burn Cory Burn on all the stuff. And then also I do have a monthly show that I'm doing with my team Beep Beep this Saturday at 9:30 at the Club House right here in Los Angeles, California. Yeah, come on through. All right, folks, you're going to catch up with us just like we will catch up with you next time on the F1 Files.